It's time for the Cannabis PowWow Show with Trinity the Hempman Mealer, the show where the community comes together to talk all things cannabis.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Cannabis PowWow with the Hempman, an informative and wide-ranging discussion about cannabis. Thank you for sharing your morning with us. I am your host, Trinity the Hempman Mealer, and founder of the first hemp dispensary in Tennessee. Joining me in the studio this morning is Brandon Harris, Hunter Dew, and our special guest on the phone from Hilton Head, South Carolina, David Mauser. David is the founder of CBD Pure USA. A round of applause for David. He's a good friend of ours and just a really awesome man. We're so excited to have him in the studio. And before we get to the Cannabis PowWow, I'd like to thank our sponsors, the Holistic Connections, with locations in Cool Springs, Murfreesboro, Shelbyville, Clarksville, Cookeville, directly across from the post office, Smyrna, and soon downtown Nashville, just off 8th Avenue, and TriStar Medical, based out of Cool Springs, Tennessee, and also Tanasi, which is a university-backed patent-pending CBD product we're very excited about. Well, gentlemen, let's start the powwow. Good morning, David, and thanks you for joining us this morning.
Hey, thank you, Ken. I appreciate it, Trinity, and thank you for having me. When you asked me to be on the show, I just wanted to clarify something as I come on to your talk show. We are an ingredients manufacturer worldwide, some 2,000 people, both Europe, Canada, United States, and we don't sell any one product, so I'm sure it'll be refreshing, but I'm not here to basically talk about brand names or anything. I'm really here to try to do something special. In our industry, it's exploded so much. So many people are interested in CBD. Some of the listeners out there right now, I assume, are taking CBD. Some are curious about it. They don't know. People have a lot of questions.
Yes, sir.
I think probably one of the most easiest and informative things I can provide is let's just talk about care for the consumer and what's going on in the industry, because the consumer right now really needs really factual, honest information, and it's changing on a daily basis, and it's exploding right in front of us. And so that's what I'll try to provide. Do you have any special questions for me, Trinity?
Well, just to clarify who David is, we've been manufacturing products here for over 15 months as Tennessee Hemp Supply, and we have sourced our some of our raw products from David Mauser and from CBD Pure. So that's why he doesn't like to talk about products, because he's providing the ethical products in the background for all of these reputable companies to make a very ethical product. So we're going to not talk about products very much. We're going to actually talk about the science behind it. And this is one of the key players in the whole world in the CBD industry, and what he's done in understanding and the education and the research that he's been part of and facilitated. So, with that, David, I'd just love for you to talk about, anything you want to educate the average consumer on.
Okay. Let's begin with science and compliance and testing, one of my favorite subjects.
Okay.
I think to begin properly, let's just keep it simple. The general public is buying tinctures, oils, edibles, vape, smoking, and whatever CBD has. Now, I'm not we have no THC in any of our products that you are representing and manufacture, or any of our clients for that matter. So let's understand that our science is all based upon pure CBD.
Yes.
The FDA's come into play with the Hemp Act 2018. So let's start there. We have to remember that the public needs protection. So therefore, the FDA is busy trying to figure out regulations to protect you, the listeners, and the consumers that are going to use this or already using this. Are you getting products without pesticides? What's the testing going to be like? We started about 6-7 years ago when we first entered this market space, and we have registered farms with the Department of Agriculture, and we were providing testing, ABC, you name it, we did it. And I think that that's an advantage for companies like ours. Today, when we sell an ingredient to someone like Trinity Healer and his dispensaries, we provide a trail, a pedigree. We show seeds to grow, the farm's registered, the oil that's taken from that hemp, it's called crude, and then into the regular oil, which is the distillate, and the winterization of it, which is nothing more than a term for cleaning it. And then we take that and we process it in high-tech distillation equipment, and we make what the public now knows as isolate, pure CBD. This CBD doesn't have anything in it. It's not broad spectrum or full spectrum, and I'd like to cover that in this short segment, but let me come back to it. Remind me, Trinity.
Okay, we'll do.
We then take that and put it into a water-soluble powder, and that's what we feel like where the industry was going even a long time ago. The easier for it is for a consumer to be able to get a serving of CBD rather than having to smoke it or a number of different delivery methods, and they're all good. I'm not a smoker, so therefore I wouldn't be a proponent of the vaping industry.
Sure, and if you have a drug test or worried about the full spectrum.
Vaping industry, so I've got to be careful. I don't want to run any of our good clients down. I believe that being able to drink it, consume it fast, that's very important for the consumer.
Yes.
And as the consumer consumes this, he needs testing. And so we are, quote, providing full panel testing. That means that you've got more than just the strength of CBD. Does it have pesticides? Does it have heavy metals? What are the components and the gases used for distillation? That's all in a test that we perform standard every day, and I hope other companies are doing that, and I know a lot are.
Yes, sir.
After you have the full panel, then you have to have full compliance, which the FDA is going to want, and that is, as I explained, from the farm all the way up to the final finished product. So for you consumers out there, always question your source. Ask for a test of the product.
That's the COA out there, people.
Hemp oil is awfully unique because it's a lightweight. It's bioavailable, maybe 20% to the human body, and that's being kind. But I'm not running it down because CBD is so unique, and it affects the human body as a natural supplement.
Yes, sir.
Many people can use the hemp oils, and they are inexpensive because of the nature of them. Our products are like 60% bioavailable. When you're taking a pure isolate and putting it into products, you've got a greater expense, and that's why isolate-based products are more money. And then when you get into water-soluble, you can get up to 90% bioavailability, and now, once again, increased cost. So let's just be very simple. You pay for what you get. I always told people when we got into the business, we're sort of like the Mayflower. Nobody was here. We were the first to land, and we made isolate, and we started distributing it in the United States. And then from there, we learned how to, quote, live with the Indians. And so we developed homes, and we progressed.
Yes.
So that's how we got into water-soluble powder. So let's talk about, besides the testing that's important, let's talk about what CBD recently is doing for the human body consumption. Okay. And we're learning by this, with 2,000 customers, I have to thank them for all the information and science they share with us.
That anecdotal evidence is key in this industry right now with the lack of actual, clinical trials and testing.
Well, yeah, we're making everything. We're supplying ingredients, not making, for transdermal patches, nasal sprays, actually eye drops with CBD. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Very sophisticated deliveries. This new 24-hour time release tablet. I'm not going to mention the brand name because I don't want to sell people's products, but we've been developing that with one client for 2 years.
Yes, sir.
They've done the testing. They've done the blood work. They've done Florida and Denver universities with beagles and actually animal studies with live blood work, and that's unusual for our industry. It takes 2 or 3 years to establish these track records. And now we're going to have a product that you can basically take one time, and it puts CBD into your body for 24 hours and maintains the same level of it. For you out there that know or don't know, that's quite unique because, you see, we've already learned that CBD has a half-life. That means no matter what edible, what product you're taking, it's 3 hours is the half-life, and then after 6 hours, it will leave the body. In other words, it clears the body. So that's why, like with epilepsy type brands, you
Yes.
have to take CBD 4 times a day. You've got to take multiple servings. I'm saying servings. I could use the word dose, but the FDA is going to hate that. You've got to
Right.
be an RX drug to use dosing. So for any of you manufacturers or dispensaries that are listening to this, be careful with your labeling. The word dose is going to be a negative. You're going to want to do serving size or daily amount and how many times. That's going to be the new law. I'm positive of it.
Oh yeah, one of the
So,
farmers here in Tennessee, she runs one of the Facebook pages, Tammy Rodriguez, and she actually is big on FDA compliance. She's been in compliance before, and she knows what's coming and talks about that all
well,
the
we
time.
don't know
So
what it's going to be, Trinity, but we know that they're going to have testing. They're going to want to trace this from seed to finished product, and so we're going to label that full compliance. And the most important thing, I believe, is the ability to understand the amount of CBD put in your body disappears. So,
well,
just in summary, hemp oils and a lot of your edibles and that, they last maybe one serving size. So they will clear the body in 6 hours. If you've got pain, inflammation, if you're looking for efficacy, which means, you've got to have a response to taking it in various levels, you're going to have to take it 3 and 4 times a day.
right.
And we just don't do that. We don't wake up in the middle of the night to take another amount.
No, it's not convenient.
So I see the industry coming really of age right now with this 24-hour time release, which is unique. You'll want to look for it in your dispensaries and people. It's going to be probably the only company I know that has it for the next year.
Okay.
But like everything else, it'll multiply, but that's a unique addition to CBD. And I really believe that the hemp oil tincture market will still remain strong because of pricing and because of its foothold. But
And the fact it's just helping people, so we're just going to weed out the bad stuff.
We're all spoiled, I guess. What we're saying is we go on the internet and we want instant access to something. We don't
Yes.
get it, we go to another site. So when the public can take CBD and know, 1, it's clean. Number 2, here's a testing certificate. Number 3, look at this works all the time. That's what I'm going to push as a number one asset to the public learning about CBD. That's where we want to go. We want to keep it simple.
Hey, that's an excellent point. And actually, we got to take a break, but we're going to come back and talk more about the compliance. If you're listening out there, this is one of the grandfathers of the company here, of the industry. So let us take a break right here and pause. We'll be right back with more Cannabis PowWow here on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub. Welcome back to Cannabis PowWow with the Hemp Man. We're here with Brandon Harris, Hunter Dew, and special guest David Mauser, and also the Little Hemp Man. Say hello.
Hello.
There he is. He's in studio here with the Hemp Mama. I've got my family up here in town, so it's exciting to be here. And
Hi, everybody.
we're enjoying our Saturday here. So, but back to David. David, we were discussing compliance and COAs and just general efficacy and ethics in the products. Can you talk a little bit about what CBD Pure's done for that? I mean, you were one of the beginning ones here, and like you've already talked about how you tested from seed to all the way to the finished product. So, what's your advice to the consumer there?
It's simple. Ask for a test. The reputable companies have QR codes. If you're QR code savvy, then you can pop your phone on it, and it'll go directly to the library where the laboratory is. Laboratory should be FDA ISO certified. That means that you're good to go. You're the real thing.
Yes.
A lot of people fake information,
Mm-hmm.
and I always like to, find out if your dispensary is the one that's going to be reputable, and if they've got reputable products, they've already filtered that for you.
Sure.
But maybe an important aspect of this is to discuss metabolism.
Okay.
A lot of the listeners out there, you want CBD to work. It is not a cure-all, so let's understand that. And I believe that from our experience, 80% find efficacy. That means it provides relief from your ailment that you're seeking. 20% does not. But in recent studies, we've learned from our clients that there's toxicity in the human body. Everybody has it. So if you can clean up and detoxify your body, those 20% that did not have any type of a response for CBD, basically now we can almost reclaim half of them. So that was an interesting piece of science that we learned quite recently. And to recap what we were talking about earlier, Trinity,
Yes.
The general public, even if they get 40 or 50% relief from pain, isn't it amazing that we can do this without opiates, so we can reduce that consumption? Let's remember one key element of CBD. It is not an RX drug, and you don't take it, and it's not the same amount for everybody.
Yes.
Each person metabolizes differently. I may need 50 milligrams a day for what I want. You may have something similar to what I have, and maybe you can do it in 15 or 20. So you'll have to find out that level in which that you're going to use it.
Yes.
And
well, we've been supplying our customers with
very important for us to do one thing.
Okay.
To realize that we're all different as we consume it, and it will disappear in the body if you don't maintain serving it 3 or 4 times a day, unless you have alternatives. Is that okay?
Absolutely. That's the anecdotal evidence that you want each client to come back and give feedback on. Keep a journal. Make sure you advocate for your best, for how it's working in your body, and what strength level you're using, and how much exercise and water level. All those different things go into factor.
Let's ask the magic question. How does CBD? What's it really do? We can talk about the eukaryotic cells, the mitochondria. We can talk about the actual science that we've learned from it. But I would say this: it's very easy. CBD balances your body. It returns it to a really natural state. And then the body can heal itself, because an RX drug does not heal you. It provides a Band-Aid for what's hurting you.
Yes.
CBD basically just rebalances everything that's out of whack, and then the body has a better chance of responding to what you're trying to do, and that's find better health. And so that's the magic of it. CBD balances health in your body in varying degrees. I personally am 75 years old, and for you viewers out there, listeners, this is not a TV show.
You got a face that is built for radio.
I take it every day. I've learned how much I need, and I'm very happy with the magic of it. It's truly something that God gave us, and we need to protect it, and that's why we're on these talk shows. We're talking about testing. We're talking about making sure that it's clean. And people who take CBD and have no reaction to it could be taking an inferior product. And then all of a sudden they thought, CBD doesn't work. It's not true. You find reputable companies with reputable testing, and I promise you, all this is personal, Trinity, but if our CBD doesn't work in the pure form of 99.7%, and the people that make products at that level, it's not going to work for anybody.
Right.
Yeah, and that goes back to don't get your products from a gas station. We've been saying that a lot lately. Like David said earlier, make sure they have a COA so you can see exactly what's in their product, and maybe more importantly, what's not in the product, like pesticides and heavy metals and things like that.
Yeah, microbials, bacteria.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you need to watch out for. But David, as I've been researching lately, it seems like over the last 3 or 4 months, the magic word is nano. So I know that your water soluble is a nano product, and could you elaborate a little bit on what that means and what it does and why it's
Nanoparticles are one size bigger than an atomic particle. They come in varying sizes. The general public doesn't really understand 20 nanometers in size, but the easy thing is nano goes through the stomach lining. There's no resistance. Nanoparticles, we encase them in a water-based shell, so obviously once you consume it, it disappears in about 80 to 120 seconds. The shell is water soluble. You're now releasing pure CBD into the bloodstream. The body self-metabolizes it, and in a nice way, it's about 2 minutes. I mean, that's fast, and it goes right up into the blood-brain barrier. So nanoparticles are important because of their size, but the people batter the name nano, and they say, well, nano's a broad spectrum or it's full spectrum. And by the way, gentlemen, can I take this opportunity?
Yes, please explain. That's one of the questions.
Full spectrum means that you've got everything in it. It's got THC. It may be an allowable amount. Full spectrum means it's all there. It's not necessary to be all there. We don't even know what half of the cannabinoids do. Broad spectrum is the key for people using formulations that they know work, and those are usually based upon terpenes, which are the DNA.
Yeah.
That's the DNA of the hemp plant. And when you have the right terpenes, the right DNA, broad spectrum is a beautiful product, and we have to add terpenes to our pure isolate so that it becomes broad spectrum. And there's a great idea for the public to understand. Know what the difference is between broad spectrum and full spectrum, and just don't go out and buy something because, I need full spectrum. People don't even know what it means. And it's just a buzzword. And then if you've got broad spectrum, they can put one terpene in it, and now all of a sudden it's called broad spectrum. So people cheat doing that just to be able to market it. You have to have a unique set of terpenes that you put into the products like we manufacture in water soluble, and then you have true broad spectrum. And guess what? Then you have true masking off of the enzyme system. Now you can deliver more CBD without it being destroyed. That's what the enzyme system does. It's designed to destroy everything you put in your body. When we mask that off with the use of terpene formulas, now you're delivering 90% to the human body. So now the consumer gets more for his money in quality products, and they get the efficacy usually they're looking for. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And the product will taste better because everyone.
Let me direct everybody to a unique site, icomr.org. I'm going to repeat that: ICOMR.org.
Okay.
It's the International Organization, Cannabinoid Organization of Manufacturers and Research. It's a wonderful site for reading about white papers and what's going on in the industry, and not any one person owns that site. So now you've got great reference material for the individual besides just typing CBD in the internet, because there's a lot of people that are sponsored websites that write about things, and then at the end you find out they're trying to sell you something.
That's right. Most articles out there are from an actual product maker.
Yeah, I'm tired of being sold something indiscreetly or sideways. I just want to get information. I want it to be real. I want to be able to trust the resourcing. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. We want everybody to feel comfortable. That's how we designed our store, is based off of advocacy for this plan and making sure that they get the right wellness product for them, explaining any questions they have, and being there for the client.
Well, Trinity, I'll give you a great compliment, and this is for the general public listening in your audience. Out of the 2,000 customers, you're one of the premier customers because of day one. It was all about the consumer, and that's why I'm on the show, because I trust you, and that's what we need in the industry. You've got to be able to have good information and tell people what's real. People say, well, there's no side effects to CBD. That's wrong. You can have a headache, a light headadeche, if you get too much CBD, if you're in the anxiety, depression facet. So there are realities to this, and people just can't make general statements. I hope that means something to the public out there, because you've got to challenge.
Yes. That's why we're asking them to advocate for themselves.
Ask
Please.
the question.
Yeah.
Yes. Give feedback on what it's done for you. We're basing a lot of what we tell people off of anecdotal evidence, and we're very careful to try not to make medical claims. We try to just tell what other people are actually experiencing by using this product, and we're getting a good sample base
and
now
by the
across
way,
the
don't
world.
be afraid to pay a little bit more. There's no free lunch in life. Real CBD that works, it's quality stuff, is really going to cost more to manufacture.
That's
Those
right.
people that don't do a fifth extraction or they don't do a final filter, that's less time. And so they have less in their product. So we have what we call street isolate, and we have street CBD. It's still CBD,
Right.
but it's not the same. There is a difference between a Mercedes-Benz and a Honda. They
There
both
is,
get
that's
to the
right.
grocery
Oh, yeah.
store, but there is a difference. And the parts, when you go to replace them, cost more because that's part of the engineering. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, David, I know from us, and we view you as a founding father of CBD, and we certainly appreciate your time. Every time I talk to you, I learn something new. It's just incredible. We'd love for people out there, if you've got any questions for David, if you could reach out to us on the Cannabis PowWow and social media there. We'd be more than happy to ask David those questions and get you the answer. He's a an impactful man here in the CBD industry, and we're lucky to have him, and very lucky to have him here on the show today. I appreciate you taking your time here, David.
I'm humbled that you have me on. I'm continuing to learn. Thank you very much for the opportunity to try to provide some more information to the general public. There are people that are still figuring out CBD. They've heard about it, and there are those of you taking it. Maybe you could take a better product, or maybe you're happy with where you are. That's not important. The importance is the knowledge of what's happening in today's market.
Yeah, and have a powwow with your social media people, with your family, with your your
Yeah,
church
have a
out
powwow.
there. Like, literally talk about it. It's not politics. It's not religion. You can talk about this. This is something to talk about. Well, David,
And
thanks
remember,
again. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, don't bypass your local medical doctor. They're learning about it too.
Yeah, push them to learn.
Always check with your physician on any serious medical conditions.
Great point.
That's just a given.
That's right, and make those doctors learn this information. It's out there, and they need to know more about it. Well, David, again, thanks for joining us.
And Trinity, you're a very passionate person, and thank you on this talk show. I really appreciate you having me as a guest.
I appreciate that. What a compliment. I do. Thanks for joining us today for the Cannabis Powwow. We appreciate your time and hope you learned something. Until next time, get up and get out there and enjoy this Saturday afternoon. And remember, the Holistic Connection, we provide Tennessee grown.